Welcome to Anayas Happy Kids Channel. Please like and subscribe.
The midnight feast of Whiskers and Squeaky. In the quiet town of Purville, when the moon was high and the stars twinkled, most animals were fast asleep. But in a small, cozy house at the edge of the village, Whiskers the cat and Squeaky the white rat were wide awake, their tummies rumbling. "Whiskers, I'm starving," whispered Squeaky, peeking out from his tiny hole in the wall. "Me too," replied Whiskers, stretching lazily on the windowsill. "But what can we do? The humans locked the pantry." Squeaky grinned mischievously. "Well, my friend, this calls for a midnight feast." The sneaky plan Whiskers and Squeaky put their heads together to plan their feast. "First, we'll need to get into the pantry," Squeaky said, twitching his nose. "I can use my claws to unlock the door," Whiskers offered. "And I'll squeeze through the tiny gap to grab the goodies," Squeaky added. They high-pawed and got to work. The pantry heist Whiskers carefully tiptoed to the pantry door, his tail swishing like a thief in the night. Using his claws, he jiggled the latch until it popped open. "Quick, Squeaky," he whispered. Squeaky darted inside and gasped. "Whiskers, it's a treasure trove. Cheese, cookies, fish tins, and even a pie." "Grab the cheese and fish first," Whiskers said, licking his lips. Together, they carried their loot to the kitchen table, giggling like mischievous kittens. The cooking chaos. But just as they began their feast, Squeaky had an idea. "Let's make it fancy, like the humans do. A midnight feast deserves a proper spread." Whiskers agreed. "I'll open the fish tin and warm it up. You slice the cheese." It sounded easy enough, but chaos soon erupted. Whiskers accidentally knocked over a jar of flour, covering himself in white powder. "I look like a funny," he laughed. Squeaky tried to climb onto the table with a block of cheese, but slipped, landing in a bowl of milk. "I'm swimming in dinner," he squeaked, laughing so hard his whiskers twitched. The feast begins. Finally, after much laughter and mess, their feast was ready. The table was piled high with fish sandwiches, cheese slices, cookies, and a warm pie. They admired their work. "To the best midnight feast ever," Squeaky cheered, raising a crumb of cookie. "To friendship and full tummies," Whiskers replied, holding up a fishbone. They ate until their bellies were full and their eyelids grew heavy. A sleepy surprise. As they cleaned up their mess, the first rays of sunlight began to peek through the window. Suddenly, the door creaked open, and in walked their human owner, Mrs. Maple. She stared at the flour-covered floor, the empty fish tin, and the crumbs everywhere. Whiskers and Squeaky froze. Mrs. Maple sighed, shaking her head with a smile. "Well, at least you two cleaned your plates. Next time, save me some pie." And with that, she patted Whiskers on the head and tossed Squeaky a piece of cheese. The two friends grinned. From that night on, their midnight feasts became a secret tradition, and they always made sure to save a slice of pie for Mrs. Maple.
If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe.